The dark side of your personality. In every human soul, there is a part we hide, a side of us that we don't want to show the world, the part that whispers in the dark, screams in dreams, and acts out in moments of unconscious rage or shame. Carl Jung called this side the shadow. But what is the shadow? Why did Jung believe that understanding it was essential for true self-discovery? And how can confronting this darkness lead not to ruin, but to transformation? Carl Jung defined the shadow as the part of the unconscious mind that contains everything we deny, suppress, or disown about ourselves. It includes negative traits, jealousy, anger, lust, greed, but also strengths we're too afraid to claim, assertiveness, ambition, and even creativity. The shadow is not evil by definition. It's simply hidden. Jung wrote, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." This means that the more we ignore or repress our shadow, the more it controls us from behind the scenes. For Jung, the shadow was not just a psychological curiosity. It was a real force that affects human behavior, personally and collectively. So where does the shadow come from? From early childhood, we are socialized to behave in certain ways. We're told what is good and what is bad. To be accepted, we present only the acceptable parts of ourselves to the world. This becomes our persona, the social mask we wear. Everything else, it goes into the shadow. A child who is punished for being loud or angry may grow into an adult who sees those traits as shameful. But the emotions don't disappear. They go underground. They fester, gain strength, and emerge in subtle, often destructive ways. Jung said, "To become conscious of the shadow involves recognizing the dark aspects of the personality as present and real. Until then, the shadow acts autonomously, sabotaging relationships, careers, and inner peace." One of the most important mechanisms through which the shadow operates is projection. When we refuse to acknowledge certain traits in ourselves, we tend to see them in others. We might hate someone for being arrogant, when deep down, we're denying our own ego. We might label others as manipulative, while overlooking our own passive aggression. Projection externalizes the inner conflict. The more unconscious we are, the more we are controlled by these projections. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Jung. Understanding this is a turning point. It's where inner work begins. The shadow isn't just personal. Jung also believed in a collective shadow, a society-wide suppression of dark elements. When whole cultures deny their darkness, it leads to war, genocide, and collective hysteria. Nazi Germany for Jung was a terrifying eruption of the collective shadow. Mass movements often feed off of unconscious forces. People who feel powerless, ashamed, or repressed project their anger onto others, outsiders, minorities, enemies. Jung's warning was clear. When a society represses its shadow, it risks catastrophe. The unconscious often speaks through symbols and dreams, and the shadow is no exception. In dreams, the shadow might appear as a monster, a thief, a dark figure stalking you. Jung encouraged patients to pay close attention to these images. By analyzing dream symbolism, we can begin to understand what our shadow wants to tell us. For example, a recurring dream of being chased might signal a repressed fear or guilt. A dream of fighting a doppelganger may point to an internal conflict. Dreams, in Jung's view, are the royal road to the unconscious. And confronting the shadow in dreams is a crucial step toward healing. So what do we do with the shadow? Do we destroy it, ignore it, bury it deeper? According to Jung, the shadow must be integrated. Integration means recognizing the shadow's existence, understanding its role, and incorporating its energy into conscious life. It doesn't mean acting out our darkest impulses. It means acknowledging them, learning from them, and redirecting them constructively. For example, anger can be transformed into assertiveness. Jealousy can reveal hidden desires. Fear can point toward growth. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Shadow integration is the core of individuation, becoming a whole, authentic self. The shadow isn't just philosophical, it shows up in everyday life. Road rage, gossip, addiction, sudden anxiety or depression, overreacting to criticism, sabotaging relationships. These aren't just bad habits. They're signs of a shadow that's crying out to be seen. When ignored, the shadow erupts. When accepted, it teaches. A mature relationship with the shadow means watching yourself with awareness, catching your projections, being honest about your flaws, and seeing others not as enemies, but as mirrors. Shadow work is the practical process of engaging with your unconscious darkness. It can involve journaling your negative thoughts and reactions, analyzing dreams, exploring past wounds and shame, practicing self-reflection, working with a therapist or Jungian analyst. It's not easy, it requires courage, but it's one of the most rewarding journeys a person can take. Carl Jung once said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people." Shadow work not only heals the self, it creates empathy. In mythology, the hero must descend into the underworld, face the dragon, enter the cave. This symbolizes the confrontation with the shadow. From Luke Skywalker facing Darth Vader to Frodo tempted by the ring, every story of transformation involves the darkness. Jung believed that these stories endure because they speak to something deep within us. The shadow is not your enemy, it is your initiation. Only by facing it can you access your full power. You are not just light, you are not just darkness, you are both and more. To truly know yourself, you must look into the mirror of your soul. You must walk into the shadow, not to be consumed by it, but to understand it, to claim it, to become whole. As Jung said, "I'd rather be whole than good." If you found this video meaningful, consider sharing it with someone on their journey. And remember, true strength comes not from pretending to be perfect, but from having the courage to face who you truly are. Subscribe for more deep dives into the understanding of the human mind and soul. On our next video, we dive even deeper on how to integrate the shadow and live a life of freedom. Check it out on our playlist. Thank you.